Alright, so today we're going to go over how to make a tile system that will make your environment a little bit more randomized and detailed and stuff like that. And this isn't what you're thinking it is. I'm not just showing you how to make tiles. I'm actually showing you how to change it so you have a generator that you throw into here. And now I've got this tile generator. So I have that, or I can do like this one, just like that. Or we can even do this one. And then the second half of this, the next part of the lecture, is going to be how to make your own. So if we take this one I made earlier and throw it in there, you see I've got this tiling going on. If we look at this one's acting a little bit weird, and this is something we're going to talk about. This is one of the settings and one of the things, one of the nodes, and then this one. And this one's doing that same thing. Okay, and we're going to start from scratch here, so I'll just make a new one. And we're going to take a look at what we have here. We're going to leave it the default. That's not a problem. We're going to start with a node. We're going to go to this new node, and we're going to actually, you know what, we'll just take one of the bricks that we have in here. So if we come over here, say brick, and pick one of these patterns, we'll pick this one. And we'll pull this out, double click on it. So we get that pattern there. And let's do it like big. Okay. So let me go ahead and give us some more filling here, and I'll fast forward through it. Okay, now we start to do the magic. We've got our basic material set up. We've got some, we'll come back and play with the colors in a bit. We'll move these maps in tight, even though they're using each other to get where we want, just to clean it up. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is, before we get to this node that we're at right here, we're going to use a new node. It's called the flood fill. So what the flood fill does is, if we go spacebar FLOOD, you'll see there's the flood fill button. It comes in and it tries to make new gradients and parts for all the black and white pieces. It basically, all these little areas are now separated out like that. So what I should have done real quick is done it a little bit different. Let me just do the flood fill on top here, so you can see the changes. So flood fill, we'll attach this to the flood fill, and then from the flood fill, what we're going to do is use another flood fill 2. So it's a flood fill 2 random grayscale. And what it does is it figures out from all these color sets that you have that each of these objects has a different random flood of black and white texture. So what we're going to do is move this all the way over to here, replace that, and if you look now, and it looks like I blurred them out too much here, so let me take this down quite a bit. But you can see now that we've got these random heights that are defined by our flood fill here. So now we got our random bricks height going on. It can be a little bit much, but that's fine. What we can also do is do another one. We'll do another flood fill down here to, oops, wrong one. Another flood fill down here, and we'll go up here to back up. Here we go. To gradient. And so we have this one and this one. And this one's a little bit different. You can see that it just makes each one its own gradient. So if we're going to use this for a height map, it's going to tell our object to raise and be shorter in some areas. So how do we make it useful? Well, we come in here and we change the angle. I'm just going to click angle, and then it's going to randomize the angle that these are popping up. So we've got this now pushing out, but they aren't really hooked up yet, so let's get them hooked up. So of course what we have to do is do a blend inside the blend. We take this second one and we do that, and you can see now they're all doing it. It's only going to do this one at this point, and then we're going to change this to a little bit less. We don't want them all crazy like that. And there you go. Okay, so we've got these all set up. You know what though? I think I want to have this not be so drastic. I'm going to take this and do a blend between those. And we're going to make this one go to there. And this original one go to here. So we have that. So we'll put these both up here. And then what we'll do with this one is we'll turn down the opacity so it's not so strong. We just want some push. We don't want it to be crazy like that. Also, I need to mess with this. All right, I've done some resetting up here, just changing the, so we can see it a little bit better. Okay, so we've got our bricks, we've got our flood fill, and we've got the two different types of flood fills. We've got them inside here. For the first one, just to blend it out a little bit. We can turn this back up a little bit so we get some more height issue stuff here. And then we have the other flood fill to the gradient, which makes each one have a gradient. That obviously makes them tilt up a little bit, and maybe a little bit overkill, so we can pull back on that. Let's change that there. We'll do that much, and then we'll come to the blend, and we pull back the opacity. Let's see if we get this one. Let's turn that back up. There we go. So it's kind of like a brick wall that has a little bit more life to it. Okay, so let's do some detail work in it. We'll come back in. Oops. Like this. Grab this one. And we'll do another blend. And in the blend from this one, we're going to add a noise. So we're going to say like, I don't know, black and white. Spots, maybe. We'll do one. And it looks like it overwrote everything. It's because it's on the top. So we're going to take this and change it to subtract, because anything that's white is going to go into the black. And then I'm going to come here. This may not be the right type. We can pull back the opacity on that too. And subtract. Take this one. We'll change the scale on it a little bit. The roughness. Change the source so it's a little bit more randomized. Do this a little bit more. Probably this is not working the way I want perfectly, so we'll pull it back a little bit. And then this one needs to be pushed. Oh, hello. There we go. Somehow I put the push out way up. Okay. So now we have our brick with some dents and stuff in it. I'm not sure if I like that or not. Maybe add some more. So we'll just not do that. Hello. Grab everything, move it over a little bit more, and we'll do another. Oops, just the one. And we'll take this one, and this time, let's see. We will do noise. Any cells? We also want to make this one, let's not use that, but let's make sure we make this one subtract. So it's adding to it. I think the noises, let's take a look at what we got here. Become a little bit bigger. Kind of want just random. Let's see what this does. Nope, don't like that one. Let's do spots. Okay, that looks okay. I'll throw this into there. Hello. My hands are not working today, that's for sure. I'll throw that to there. And then we'll make sure this says subtract. Like that. And then let's take a look at this. Shoot that scale up. There's some disorder on there again. I think we keep losing. Okay. This may be overkill, so what we'll do is we'll turn that sucker down. We just want a couple little differentiations there. Okay. Take a look at this, and we'll scale it up a little bit more even. Okay. Kind of looks spongy. We can come back and soften that up here. Our blur and gradient is really high actually, so let's pull this into like 0.4. And then we can decide how much of this we want to keep. We can just keep pulling it back so they disappear a little bit more. Okay. So when I first come into my gradient, there's one thing I want you to understand is this black is going to replace anything black, and then the gray values will replace the gray values accordingly. So if I go to gradient and I open this up, and just to give you an idea, if I change this right here to, let's say, white, and then I do another dot right here, and we'll make it black, you'll see now I have this white inverted thing, and I could even change this to red or whatever. So I now still have the white because it's the first color. So, or it's black in the original. So let me go back to gradient editor, and we'll do what we usually do, and we'll minimize this, and we're just going to do a drag line. So when you do your first drag line, just make sure you try and grab the white area first and then do it, and then do a good chunk of it. So you get something like that. And now I have the white in the lightest area, and we'll say that's fine. Just like that. And then we could take something from here and actually cancel. We'll take this and copy, and paste, and we'll change that from here to there. And if we look at it, it's got a bunch of noise on it. Okay, looks pretty good. You want to keep them kind of even. And then, you know, you could put a blur on it to soften it up or something, or you could do what we always do, which is a blend. And blend this one and this one. And then let's see if we do a overlay. That's too bright. Let's just do a standard and pull back some strength here. So now we're getting this wall that's a little bit more grimy, and it follows the bumps of this. So now we just need to actually add it into here. But, you know, we've made this curvature map, and we do tend to like what the curvature map does. So we can, of course, just throw it straight into there like that and get the curvature map loses its place. But one of the things I haven't pointed out yet, and I should point out, is this right here means it's a color output, And this right here means it's a black and white output. So when we try and put these two together into a blend, it's not going to work. So let's do a blend real quick and take a look at it. And you'll see it can go black or white, but it goes to this, it goes to color or black, but it goes to that. And this is only for black and white, and this can be both. I think that if this is black and white. So we're going to take this to blend it into there, which is fine. And then what we need to do is make this think it's a color map. And that's where we did that thing before. We're going to grab it, do a gradient map, and turn it. And now you think, even though we haven't changed a thing, it thinks it's a color map. So we will now drag this into there. And then we're going to change our blend on this one, in this case, to overlay. And then we'll see what this looks like. And then we can turn this up a little bit. There, push that highlight. Okay, let's go ahead and make sure all our outputs are going to the thing here. And if we zoom in, we'll see some of those highlights, and you'll see that they're not, you know, crazy. And there we go. So we have all this. It's a pretty simple, I know it seemed like it was more complicated than it was. We have all this as a, you know, a straightforward, let me move these guys over here, and then you just want to organize because it'll drive you crazy and everybody else has to work with your stuff later. My problem is I always hit a node when I don't want to, and then never hit a node when I do. So let's go ahead and flip these so they make more sense. And then let's find a way to do this a little bit cleaner. Let's grab this, move it in, and then we're going to take this and pull it back a little bit and pull these two closer together and in like that. Okay, so if we see, we have our whole thing set up this way. Now let's test our bricks and stuff and see if it works. So let's go to our patterns. We're going to find patterns that work, that are simple patterns at this point, because the more complex patterns are going to fight you until we get it all set up. And there's really, what I mean is there's not a lot of concept or more heavy patterns in here anyway. So if you hold shift and we drag up to here, it'll automatically move it over, and there we go. There's our new brick pattern. And if we take something like, I don't think the weave will work, but if we did something like this one, which I think I showed you before, and we shift and drag down to there, and there you go. So this is a way to set up a pattern set. And there's a couple things I want to show you. One of them I'm going to show you right now, and then the next one I'm going to talk about once I make sure that Unity and other things use it to the best advantage. The biggest problem that we have is tiling doesn't work infinitely, and we need to find a way to make that happen, and we found a way, at least mostly, to make that happen. And that's it, and I'll talk to you in a little bit.